Dawn, fun one right here.
Talk about a great job.
Dude, yeah. We went out on a limb, and we both picked Colorado to win, even though they were, plus 400 money line and plus 14-point dogs.
We didn't take them by 27.
No, we did not expect this.
That would be sicko work right there.
Holy crap. Colorado, 48-21 over UCF. A dominant performance by the Buffaloes in this game. Let's go over the highest graded players, starting with the Colorado Buffaloes in this one. So the highest graded one is actually Shedeur Sanders at 80.7, but Will Shepherd outside of him at a 79.5. Wide receiver Travis Hunter at a 75.9. Cameron Stillman Craig at a 71.7. Shane Cokes at a 71.5. And Samuel Okunlala at a 71.4. Let's go over to the UCF side of the football with their highest graded players. Amari Kite, was their highest graded player at a 73.4. Mac McWilliams at a 73.6. Quadric Bullard at a 71.8. Ladarius Tennyson at a 69.7. Malachi Lawrence at a 68.9. And KJ Jefferson, rough game in this one, at a 52.8 grade in this one. So, Dalton, for you, what was the stat that told the story in this dominant victory for Colorado?
You know, we talk every week about Shedeur Sanders and Travis Hunter and all the fun stuff, right? All the first-round guys, all the fun stuff with Colorado. They're so explosive. They got a defense they're putting together, Max.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, I came into this game talking about their run defense.
This ain't last year's Colorado.
This ain't last year's Colorado. No, it isn't. This is a Colorado team with a defense. They even started getting a little run game going, a little play action going. If this Colorado team is finding balance, we got a fun one. We got a real fun one. I'm going to give it to you. It's very basic. UCF, excluding sacks. I hate having to do that every time.
Yeah, every time.
UCF, 194 rushing yards. And it sounds like a lot, but when you consider they were averaging almost 380 through their first 3 games, okay? And on, what was it, last Tuesday, I told you the goal for me, if I'm Colorado, 250.
Yep.
You hold them around 250, you got a real shot to win this game. Make it Shedeur versus Jefferson. Obviously, Shedeur has the advantage.
Yeah.
I personally think he's the best quarterback in the country right now. I know there's other guys who get the Heisman stuff.
There's an argument.
Travis Hunter, there might be a better Heisman candidate on his own team. But if any game where Colorado can make it about the quarterbacks, that's an advantage, right? So you talk about 194 rushing yards, only 4.8 yards per carry for UCF in that game. This was the team leading the nation in rushing yards per game, and they had 4.8 yards per carry, a pretty reasonable number. When you consider what Colorado just did in run defense against this team, look, right now they're after playing UCF, they are 17th in the country in run defense grade. And remember I talked about their linebackers before this game being 3rd? They just played UCF of all teams with that run game, and they dropped down to 6th. This linebacker core, Levante Bentley, we saw Jalen Wester a lot in the fourth quarter. Nikai Hill-Green is one of my favorite players in the country. Between the tackles, Colorado is spectacular. I'm telling you right now, in run defense. Quarterback runs, still got to work on it a little. We're getting a little better. It's going to be a lot of fun in their next game against Avery Johnson.
Oh, yeah.
But between the tackles and just overall, their run defense as a unit, all of some of the names you saw in that top 5, BJ Green making plays, Deion Hayes, the linebackers, Shane Cokes, Chidozie and Wanko, I could list a million guys in their front 7 who are playing well in run defense because it's the linebackers to me are making the biggest impact. They have a lot of guys playing well. This Colorado team what's the 2 things I keep telling you about the Big 12? What's the 2 things?
You got a quarterback, you guys have to run.
Is there anyone in the Big 12 doing those 2 things better than Colorado right now?
I don't think so. This is pretty clearly the best quarterback in the conference.
I'm just going to say it. Before the year, like in our preview, I said, you know what? I think they could win like 7 to 9 games.
Uh-oh.
And after the North Dakota State game, I was like, they have the talent, if they execute properly, to win 9 or 10. I'm going to go a further limb with these 2 factors.
Uh-oh.
They are capable of winning the Big 12.
Woo!
They're at least capable of it. Would I maybe make them the number 1 favorite right now? Maybe not.
Yeah.
But I will tell you right now,
I agree with you.
I think
they're capable.
I think there's 4 or 5 teams capable of winning the Big 12, and they're one of them. I really They can win the Big 12 with their front 7 playing like this. They can do it. Because this is where if they can shut down, I would even call it shut down, considering they held UCF to half their average.
No, that's a huge.
Yes, they're playing K-State.
Yeah.
Yes, they're playing Texas Tech. Yes, they're playing Utah. All those teams. But if you can do that to a team like UCF, whose run game is probably, as a unit, probably top 2 or 3 at least still in the Big 12, if not number 1, why would I not have faith that they couldn't do it to anybody else? Mm-hmm. And if they get through the K-State game, all bets are completely off.
All bets are off.
They're completely off because that's probably the 2 most all-around diverse running games in the Big 12. You're talking about, okay, Texas Tech, right? Mm. You're handing the ball off.
Yeah.
It's not like Baron Morton and triple option and doing all that.
Utah. Just hand the ball off.
Yeah, just hand the ball. Even if Cam Rising's in there, they're just handing the ball off.
Yeah.
Right? You get through UCF, and now 2 weeks from now, if they get through K-State, and how electric is Folsom Field going to be?
Oh, my
2 weeks from now.
Dude. Yeah.
I mean, it's going to be an incredible environment. You get through this K-State game, and you keep proving this front seven I'm telling you, they are capable of winning quarterback and run defense. They can win the Big 12.
Yeah, I don't hate it at all, honestly. Colorado in the playoff.
This game was the barometer game. It is now possible.
Colorado in the playoff would rule. That would rule.
Are you kidding?
That would be unbelievable.
Yeah, I had a thought earlier. You know what we need?
Huh?
We need the rematch with Dan Lanning.
Oh my God, we do. That would be.
We kind of need Colorado.
That would be
if we ever got Colorado going to Oregon.
Yeah.
God forbid, vice versa.
You know what? And I understand. People get annoyed by Dion and all that. What you got to give him credit for? This program was 1-11 2 years ago, and now we're talking about them as in conference title contention. That is insane for any program to have that kind of turnaround. And I understand it's a brand new roster, but that's what you got to do. When you go 1-11, you better get a brand new freaking roster because you stunk 2 years ago. Yeah. And he did exactly that. And again, we keep saying it. Last year, again, even going 4-8 last year is a massive improvement off the year before. He just got talent last year. Now he's attacking the weaknesses, and now you're saying, okay, this is a more complete football team than we've seen before.
Can I throw one more thing in there?
Yeah, go ahead.
We saw it. I think we started to see it in the second half of the Nebraska game. They didn't give up a point in the second half of that Nebraska game. Okay, they got rattled against Nebraska early. They lost the game. Colorado State played a close game with them last year, right? Came back, took care of business, beat them by 3 scores. Okay, the Baylor game. I know it was a Hail Mary. I know they wanted a Hail Mary. Look, Baylor played a tight game with BYU yesterday, too. Props on the upset pick, sort of. It's weird. But
I nailed it.
Anyway, yeah, you nailed it. You were on fire yesterday. But, look, Colorado, too, I think, is showing a resilience that we did not see last year.
Yeah.
Look, the haymakers back and forth in the Baylor game, Hail Mary, forced fumble on the 1-yard line. And then in this game, let's be honest, how could their first 3 plays have gone any worse?
Yeah,
2 screens that went completely backwards, and then probably Shadur's second worst throw of the season, other than the Nebraska one. Throw an interception at your own 20.
Yep.
And UCF is grinding down towards the goal line, and then for Preston Hodge to pick off that ball in the end zone, that's going to be one of the plays of their season.
Oh, huge.
What happens last year if Shadur throws that pick on his own 20 and their defense is backed up? What happens? UCF scoring.
Yeah.
It's 7-0.
And the wheels come off. Yeah.
And the wheels come off. There was several games last year where we saw them deflate. I don't want to say quit. That's
no.
Like deflate.
No,
and
your confidence is shot.
And it just they didn't punch back. Mm-hmm. And you're seeing them right now when things get hard. They're punching back. Yeah. They didn't do that last year, and they easily could have come out after the Nebraska game, even within that Nebraska game, and just not punched back. And that Nebraska game could have been 50-0 the way it went. And they shut them out in the second half, and they suddenly realized, they're like, you know what? We're not that bad. And we lost the game, but we're not that bad. This isn't last year. And now they've carried that into their next 3 games. I think this level of resilience that they're showing when things get hard is something that's different from last year. And part of it does come with the attitude in their front 7. I told you that the quiet story in that Baylor game was their run defense, keeping them in the game when they were behind. Mm-hmm. This game now, they came out early, and they were great, and they got them ahead, and you put UCF in a bad situation.
And exactly that. And when they're in a bad situation, Dalton, they couldn't get out of it. And when you can't run the ball, and you're UCF, you can't use play action that much. And KJ Jefferson, if he doesn't have play action, he doesn't have the run game, he's not great. And he had a 43.5 passing grade yesterday without play action, 11 for 21 for 72 yards, a pick, and 2 turnover-worthy plays without play action yesterday. 3.4 yards per attempt on just standard dropbacks yesterday. If you can't run the ball, they're screwed. They're lost offensively, and that's not where they succeed. And Kobe Hudson, a guy that had a lot of hype, and deservedly so yesterday for how good he's been all year. But yesterday, Dalton, 2 catches on 6 targets for 39 yards. He didn't do anything against Colorado yesterday. So shout out to that Colorado secondary and shout out to that run defense for shutting that down. And when you shut that down, you shut down the passing game down as well, because they can't use play action and they can't use the RPOs that they love to use in that offense. So shout out to all of them. I mean, Travis Hunter had an unbelievable interception once again. I mean, this guy's, again, my pick for the Heisman Trophy, at least right now.
Yep.
But Jalen Monroe made a hell of a case yesterday, but I still think Travis Hunter's the favorite as of right now. Ashton Jeanty is also making a really good case for it as well. But when you shut this down, this run game for UCF, they are lost offensively, and that's what happened yesterday.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what? Credit, I'll skip to my most impressive here.
Go ahead.
Normally, obviously, it's probably be Shedeur or Hunter, but we've got a theme here of this is a team effort from Colorado now, right? We got a theme, and a guy I got on after week 1 with that North Dakota State game, their defensive coordinator, Robert Livingston, well, he's putting it together now.
Yeah.
Between this run defense and mixing up coverages, and look, that Travis Hunter interception that he hit the Heisman pose on.
Love it.
Zone coverage.
Yep.
Remember I talked about that. Look, they run a high rate of man coverage, and I get it. You got Travis Hunter, you've got DJ McKinney, you've got Preston Hodge, you got Silman Craig. Shiloh Sanders isn't even playing now, and he's pretty good back there too, right? Robert Livingston is putting this whole unit together now, and yesterday they allowed minus .265 EPA per play. That is the lowest in any game since Deion Sanders became the coach.
Wow.
So if Colorado now has a defense and has balance, and again, pass pro comes and goes. I thought it was okay yesterday. It was good enough yesterday, right? Shedeur made
I'll get into something in a little bit. Yeah.
Shedeur can make some plays on the move. Like, they don't have to be lights out like last year's Oregon team to be. They just need to, if they're average in pass protection, he will make things happen on the move at times. But the defense, to me, is actually a bigger story, and obviously there's usually no bigger story than Shedeur Sanders and Travis Hunter. Well, and this sort of is Travis Hunter; it's half of it. But this defense is the thing now that puts them in contention, and the way they're playing, if they continue to play the way that they've played the last 3 weeks, 3.5 weeks really, and especially in this game against the run, we've got a real story. We're going to be talking about Colorado all the time now if they've got a defense, because the pressure now is a little bit off of Shedeur and the offense to put up 50 every week. Even though they did it in this game, you can see if they make stops, this is the way it can avalanche.
So every week, whenever we do Colorado review, and we've done a lot of them already, we've always said the most impressive part was one of us would always take Shedeur, one of us would take Travis Hunter. Well, so I'm happy you took Robert Livingston, kind of changed it up. I'm going to change it up as well with Jordan Seaton for mine. And
another true freshman.
Dude, this 2027 NFL draft, holy crap. This 2027 NFL draft is going to be special. So we're going to do an all-eligible mock draft after the season's over and in draft season, which is just basically a mock draft if everyone's eligible. I can promise you 2027 is going to be all over that mock.
Would Jordan Seaton be one of those 32 guys?
I think he might.
Is he in there?
He'd probably be one of the top tackles. The way he's playing right now. And Dalton, you said it before, I mean, like they're playing, the trenches have been so good defensively, but the offense is still coming along in the trenches on the offensive line. Seaton, though, he's been balling lately, man. 81.1 pass blocking grade yesterday against UCF. 0 pressures allowed on 40 pass blocking snaps. And if you've watched the show the last couple of weeks, I've mentioned the beaten by defender stat because, again, you can get beat and still not let up a pressure. He was only beaten once yesterday on 40 pass blocking snaps. 78 pass blocking grade in each of the last 3 games. And outside of the Nebraska game, Dalton, he has 4 pressures and no sacks allowed on 186 pass blocking snaps. The Nebraska game was rough, don't get me wrong. I think he allowed like 7 pressures, something like that. But outside of that one game, only 4 pressures and no sacks allowed. And outside of that game, 81.6 pass blocking grade. That is top 20 among FBS tackles this year. Again, this is a true freshman left tackle. There might not be, besides quarterback, there might not be a harder position to play as a true freshman than offensive tackle in college football.
And I don't think there may not be a single offensive lineman under more scrutiny than him.
No.
Considering that
blindside protector for Shedeur Sanders, yeah.
And as a true freshman on that team, with the issues that they have had in the last year and a half.
Yep.
If he's going to keep getting better as the year goes on, and all of a sudden you talk about, because it's all the things. One great offensive lineman makes the entire unit better, right? He can handle one-on-one matchups. You can slide things and help the other guys and all of that. He's going to keep doing this, and again, it's another thing where this is a more well-rounded team, and if he's going to become another true freshman star of all the guys that we've seen in the country so far, it's incredible.
I'll tell you what, Dawn. Deion Sanders is not bringing a lot of recruits. but he does bring in impactful ones, and he brought in the number 1 offensive tackle in the country coming out of high school.
He's playing like it.
If you're not going to bring a lot of guys in, you better bring in the really good ones, and he got the one that he needed maybe more than anyone else in the country, which is Jordan Seaton, honestly. So Jordan Seaton, he is their blindside blocker for the next few years, and we said it upstairs, Dawn, as well. There is no better quarterback in college football playing 7-on-7 than Shedeur Sanders. Yep. And when you have an offensive line that's blocking like this, you allow him to play 7-on-7. And when you do that, I don't know if there's a defense in the country that can stop Shedeur Sanders in this receiver core. So you protect him, and Shedeur Sanders is going to be elite, and Jordan Seaton, at least yesterday and in the last few games, has protected him. So shout out Jordan Seaton and shout out Colorado for a massive 27-point victory. They covered that spread by 41 points over UCF yesterday. So shout out Colorado for winning that game. We actually called that one, Dawn.